Peter Macdissi, how are you doing? Welcome to An Actor Despairs.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. How about you?
It's so great to have you on. I'm such a massive fan of yours. When this email came my way, I was over the moon. I talk about this a lot on the show. What makes the difference between good acting and great acting, and good acting is people that can just play a personality, and great acting are people that make choices, really
Right.
distinct one and nuances, and bring something to the text that isn't just on the page and elevate it. And I remember when I first saw you as Olivier in 6 Feet Under. I'll never
Right.
forget the first scene that you did. Is you came in and it's so hard as an actor to come into a show that's established and to make
Exactly.
your presence known. And I'll
Sure.
never forget it. You said, I want you to paint a picture of the most horrible day of your lives. And I was so fascinated by your energy, and I loved what you did with that character. I've just been such a big fan of yours, and it's so cool watching you now and Uncle Frank and everything that you've done, man. Welcome. It's a
Thank,
real honor.
thank you. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So
I'm
so
humbled by your comments.
Oh man, you're excellent. I can't wait to dig into the new project. But let's start from the beginning. You grew up in Lebanon.
Yeah, I was born in Lebanon to a Lebanese dad and an Armenian mother, and I did grow up there. Yeah, for sure. During the war, actually. So.
Yeah. How was that? How was that? I mean, I feel like that's a redundant question, but
Well, like when you ask me how that is, it's just like hard to compare to anything else because at the time you didn't know anything else. So
yeah,
that was the normal way to sort of live. But it was unstable,
yeah,
I would say. It was unstable. It was very I mean, too exciting and too stimulating. You didn't know when the bombs would start. You didn't know when you had to run to the shelter. And it was definitely a very unique experience that most people in this country, at least, don't have. I'm thankful for it because it made me who I am right now. And it just gave me a different perspective on life.
I totally respect that. Talk to me. What did your parents do? Were they artists, or
Oh
what
my
did they?
God, not at all. No, no, no. I wish it would have been easy.
Such an easier journey.
I know, right? Not at all. My dad, like, had a factory, and my mom was just like a housewife, actually, as
Wow.
simple as that. Yeah. And I had a sister, Laura, who was older, and Johnny, who was younger. And we grew up in like the suburbs of Beirut, I guess.
Okay, and so how did you get attracted to the arts? Was it like literature at first, or what were the kind of?
No, I think, watching TV. I mean, I grew
Yeah.
up with American movies and American shows, French as well, and some British, but mainly American. So, like you name the show, I've seen it,
Yeah.
like the $6 Million Man. I think that was like the first show, maybe with the Bionic Women. I was
Yeah.
in Dallas and Falcon Crest and
Mission
Knots Landing.
Impossible.
No, that's too old for me. I was
Okay. That was a test. That was a test.
Mission Impossible. I don't know actually.
Yeah.
So all these shows, it was kind of interesting to see. And what was interesting? Even when I was a kid, like 10 or 12 or whatever, I would see like, oh my God, I would think that the guest stars on these shows were better than the series
Yeah,
regulars.
that's why I started this
But, at
podcast.
12 to notice that must
Yeah.
be, that's unusual, right?
Yeah.
So we're attracted to the series regulars. They represent something. We project on them, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, wow, that's a good actor. That's a good actress, whatever. But the thing that blew me away was Rebel Without a Cause.
Yeah. James
I
Dean.
was, yeah, I was like 13 or something. They showed it on TV and it was about 10 p.m. It started. I was all alone in the dark. Everybody had gone to bed. And I watched it and my soul sort of, something happened to my soul where it was just an unbelievable cataclysmic experience for me. I
Yeah.
mean, the vulnerability, the work for it is so personal, so vulnerable, so intense. I fell in love with him. I
Yeah.
fell in love with him. And that's like little by little, I sort of like, maybe I should take a crack at this or whatnot. I mean, there was a penchant to perform, I've always like, Had sketches for my parents, dance and song, especially when the bombs started falling. I was like entertaining them.
Yeah, to stay sane.
It's
Yeah.
like a movie actually.
Yeah.
So it's so little by little, and then I heard through my sister that there is a drama school in Lebanon, which is called Institut de Beaux-Arts, which is the French word for the fine arts, the Institute
Okay.
of Fine Arts or something.
Is in
And
Beirut or?
yeah, in Beirut. So I
Wow.
went to that, and mainly, it's a traditional drama school, which means the focus is on theater and your voice and your diction and movement and fencing and
And
all of
classics and
exactly. So
yeah.
like, traditional acting, so which was cool, and I did a lot of plays over there when it was possible to do any plays during that time. And then I moved to Europe, and then I came here because I had heard of the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute and method acting.
That's where I went.
James Dean, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Where?
yeah,
New
yeah.
York or Los
Yeah,
Angeles?
New York.
Oh, I came here to Los Angeles. So
Santa Monica Boulevard. I know it well.
exactly. So then I came to LA to go to Lee Strasberg to learn the method. It took me a minute to get it. It took me a minute. It was not, and for most foreigners and Europeans, it's not an easily accessible method. It takes a bit to understand it.
And I think it takes a maturity to it's great that you had all those experiences, because I entered at 18 and I don't think I fully appreciated it because I was just coming out of high school, to have, it sounds like you had this amazing experience in Beirut and then you went to Europe and then,
Like the form. So the scene I would do is Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah.
The form was very important. Like that's very European and old world in a way. And then we come here, Lee Strasberg, sensory work. Why am I trying to feel an orange? Why am I trying to smell an apple? It took a while, and then all of a sudden it was like boom, this deluge of knowing who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's essential for an artist to know exactly who you are.
It's critical.
And it was an incredible experience. I mean, I remember Anna Strasberg giving me a scholarship because I came with no money. And she said, "You're superiorly talented, Peter, and I'm going to give you a scholarship." So she gave me a scholarship for 2 more years, actually.
Wow.
So generous of her. And I'm so thankful for her because it really made me the actor that I am now. So that was exciting. And then, I started auditioning, blah, 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 and the rest is history.
So do you feel like Strasberg is very, let's say maybe you found your form at the other schools, Strasberg is where you found your voice?
Yes, absolutely. It's so interesting. Even now with A-list actors, sometimes I find if they're doing something, what's that word? Like something a little bit like a period piece or something a little bit
dated.
Not dated, sort of like if you're playing like an animal or a robot or whatever, you find them going right away to the form.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a mistake. I can't believe this actor or this actress did that.
Yeah.
Because you always have to come from the inside. I mean, that's now you could use exterior stimuli to sort of kick off the inside, but if it's not supported, it has to be supported by the inner life of the character and then play the form, not just play the form externally. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you're making, I totally get what you're saying.
To me, I mean, that's where I'm so appreciative of Strasberg's work because I think it's super, super important.
So talk to me, if we could paint the landscape of Los Angeles at this time, what at that time it was probably just network shows, right? Like NBC, ABC, HBO was probably a relatively new phenomena with Oz and
right.
And so when you were there, what kind of things were you auditioning for?
So 2 weeks after landing in Los Angeles, I saw an ad on a bulletin board that it's a non-union feature. There was the non-union feature.
Yeah.
That you couldn't be in union features before getting your SAG card. And they were looking for a Middle Eastern salesman or something. So I went there, I auditioned, I got the part. And I said, yay, Hollywood is opening its arms to me. I was I was over the moon. I mean, I thought, so that was that. And then that was it for a long time. There was nothing going on. I didn't have my SAG card. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have a manager, whatever it takes, you know. And to me, like having an agent was this like sort of utopia. Like
Yeah, this
there was no
illustrious.
way to get an
Yeah.
agent, or
Yeah.
like SAG. Oh my God, you had to do so many. I think it was you do 3 non-union features, and then you could get your SAG card. I don't remember
The
exactly.
rules are always changing.
Yeah,
And yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So you know, I would like, I sort of hustled a lot. Like I would show up at like an agency and I said, I have an appointment with so and so agent.
That's awesome. I love that. I did
You know,
that when
I did all of that stuff, and it is so embarrassing because like she would check it. I don't have you down and
Oh,
whatnot.
I'm here. I'm there.
You know. So I did a lot of that. You know, a lot of that obviously did not work out. I don't know exactly when it started working out. Like obviously I got my SAC card, and then you know I did join some agencies. I forgot the names, but they were very, very, very small agencies. Like you know, very, very like obscure agencies almost. So and little by little, you know, you climb up that
Yeah.
ladder. And I did. The first thing I did that was SAG, I remember it was a TV show called Jag.
Yeah, I remember Jag. I've seen it.
So I booked a job. I remember like, you know, going on audition and then somebody yelled and they do fantastic audition. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I got the part. So that was the first thing. And then, you know, Pensacola with, what's Josh Brolin's dad's name? Sorry,
James Brolin? Is it James?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So he was like the producer of the show as well as the actor. So I did that. And then, you know, 24 and X-Files. So I forgot, and some pilots, some sitcom pilot, you know, stuff like that. Until you know, 6 Feet Under came, and probably that show is what puts me on the map in a small way, because everything else before it was just day player,
Co-star, guest star.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You know, and it was very like sort of an uninspired casting in a way.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do those acting wise. You're just there to move the narrative along. You know?
Exactly.
So talk to me when you know, because like when the history of television is written, you know, Alan Ball, you know, David Simon and Tom Fontana, those are going to be the 3 names that are first there, because that, you know, HBO is what made modern television as we know it is now. And without that happening, without 6 Feet Under, without The Sopranos, without Oz, without The Wire, none of this would have happened. That was the catalyst that changed it all. So when you got the Olivier audition, did you know at that time, you know, 6 Feet Under, like, did you know the show?
I did not know the show, but not initially, but then, you know, I watched the show, and I auditioned in the 2nd season, actually, before Olivier for, it was a character that was the character's name was David, I think. David's boyfriend.
Okay.
I think the name was Ben Dooley.
Okay.
The character. And I did not get the part, and I was devastated. And then I invited Alan Ball to watch me in a showcase that I put up.
At Strasberg?
No, actually at Salome Jen's studio. By that time, I had left I had finished.
Okay.
I was taking some individual acting classes.
Yeah.
So I've taken, after that, I took a lot of like, you know, different teachers, and just to keep the craft, honing your craft and whatnot. So we set up a French play by Marguerite Duras. For the life of me, I forgot the name of it. But at any rate, so I invited Alan Ball to watch it. And I said, what do you think? You think blah, blah, blah. What do you? And then Olivier came along, and, you know, he sort of gave me the part, actually. And then it evolved. Olivier, so I was like supremely lucky in that regard. And
you earned it, though. You were so good in that show. You know, it's the way I describe your character is like, you know, when you watch The Dark Knight and the Joker's not in every scene, and you just want him to be in every scene. You know, you were so intoxicating, and it was so fun to watch, and volatile in the best sense of the word.
Yeah, I still remember like the first day of the shoot. I was like, you know, I just like came in like a hurricane. Because I felt his energy. You know, it's very important to know the energy of your character. So his energy was like, that's it and nothing else, basically. He's just like that of this. He has specific ideas of how art should be, and that's how it is. He doesn't listen. He's, you know, so So I worked on that a little bit, and I enjoyed working on it a lot. And then there was the fourth season, a little bit less, and then the fifth season. So it was a recurring role.
Yeah, yeah, it was a great one. And did that allow you to flex up agency wise?
Um, well, wait. I mean, if you want me to tell you the story of Hollywood, it's kind of devastating because
Yeah, tell me, please.
after this together, I thought, like agents are gonna be after me, auditions
Yeah.
and none of that happened. I mean, none of that happened. That was such a fallow period where I went into a severe depression because I thought, and like at the time, honestly speaking, I mean, I was super naive. I mean, so
Yeah.
in terms of like ethnicities and race and
Yeah.
diversity, like I had no idea. I thought I'm like any other average American actor,
Yeah.
and that's obviously not the case. So I would think like, why not this, like, let's say white actor? Why not me? So I
Yeah.
didn't have that. I didn't have that programmed in my brain that America, and specifically Hollywood, is really very categorical
Yeah.
in the way it thinks, right? So you have white guys, you have black guys, you have Asian guys, and somehow me, I'm like this other or Middle Eastern guy. It's
Yeah.
much better now, but at the time,
It was
it was
binary.
still hard,
Yeah.
to sort of, break through. It
And
still is for me, it still is. I mean, it's just super hard. So
how did you buoy yourself for those listening? What did you do to keep the course? Because my show's called An Actor Despairs, and that's an integral part of our journey is despair. We all know that when we sign up for this. So how did you keep going? What?
Well, I mean, I kept on going on auditions, and then that fizzled out a bit. Agencies, nothing was happening, and so I said, let me take a crack at writing. So I
Yeah.
started writing screenplays, and I've written about 3 or 4. Nothing was done, and a pilot and a half-hour show and stuff like that.
Were
So
you selling them or?
I was trying to sell them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nothing got sold
Yeah.
either, because my voice apparently is, as I heard, a bit European. So I'm like, okay, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So, and then, I knew Alan Ball was looking for a development guy in his production company.
Yeah.
So I said, how about can I get a job there and whatnot? So he gave me this job where, I was in development, and where you read a lot of scripts.
Doing coverage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what's good, what's not, what you want to do, and blah, blah. And like from there, I sort of moved up to, I started understanding the business. And the best thing that happened to me was working on the other side of the fence.
Interesting.
Because for me, specifically, as I told you, I'm a very gullible kind of guy. I got to understand what the business is.
Yeah.
And then if you don't nail an audition, that doesn't mean you're not a good actor.
No, and it has so little to do with you sometimes.
So many
Yeah.
variables. It's unbelievable. So I learned that, and I co-produced with him many shows like Banshee on cinema.
Yeah, Anthony Starr's a friend who did the show.
Exactly.
Shreyas Kelly Don, Hoon Lee, they all did the show. I love Banshee. One of the best shows ever.
I developed that with the writer, Jonathan, at the time, Tropper, and David Chiklis. We developed this show for 2 years, actually. It was set up at HBO, and then it moved to Cinemax, and we had to adjust the tone a bit to fit that network. So I learned a lot. And then, came The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks with Oprah, So I did all of that. And meanwhile, as well, forgive me chronologically, I'm screwing up. So
no, it's okay.
But I did Towelhead as well in the midst of all that, which was based on a book that Alan wanted to direct. And the character was Lebanese, and I'm from Lebanon. And he thought I'd be perfect. And I loved shooting that movie. I mean, I had the most fun doing that movie.
That was your Rebel Without a Cause?
That is my You got it. Exactly.
Yeah, that's so amazing. That's great.
It was, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but it was a good movie, but it was controversial.
Yeah.
And the critics wanted it to fail. I mean, I think it held up pretty well if you want to check it out. It's
Yeah,
I say
absolutely.
very conservative, stern Lebanese dad. It's a story about a girl coming of age and the neighbor molests her and the dad is not doing a good job. It was a
Yeah.
fantastic, fantastic movie, you know, with the Tony Collette, Maria Bello, and Aaron
Oh,
Eckhart.
love that.
And and I love that. And I, you know, that brought up the confidence back in me as an
Yeah.
actor. Because, you know, every time actually it sort of dips and you start doubting yourself.
Yeah, it's like stepping away from the gym. You're not in shape as much, and
Exactly. And, you know,
yeah,
am I really good? Should I really pursue
you
this?
are.
Maybe I should go to
Yeah.
France and sell baguettes or
Yeah.
something, you know. And then after that, you know, a few jobs came along, like Burning Palms, and
Here and now.
that's later. But
Yeah, yeah,
what else? Oh, The Losers, right?
yeah,
And you know, and then Here and Now was like 2, 3 years ago. I don't remember.
yeah, yeah.
That was, and then Here and Now came as well. So we were developing that show that Alan wrote.
Let me ask you,
And
while you were developing, were you feeling creatively fulfilled, or did you just feel like it was a way to survive and sort of the periphery of what
no,
you loved?
it is creatively fulfilling, but
Yeah,
it's not like acting to me.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I have to be honest. I've been honest about this. I mean, producing is fantastic. It's
yeah.
fantastic. It gives you a sense of control that you don't have an
Yeah,
actor.
because I feel like I'd want to be like, when can my role in the show be? You know?
Exactly. So you call the
Yeah,
shots, right?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, editing, you know, being in post and learning
yeah,
editing and music and how to put that and how to piece things together. It was really a great learning experience for me
So you would
as an
say
actor.
Banshee was your film school in some ways?
Banshee was my development
Got it.
sort of school, as
Okay.
well as Henrietta Lacks. But with Here and Now is when I really started producing,
Yeah.
you know, really, really being like a decision maker in every single aspect of production,
Yeah.
from pre-production to post-production, everything. And it was a fantastic learning experience. And casting, you know, and then you understand like why this person got the job. And you know, I was casting these people and I'm like, oh my God, like the producer session, I'm going to say no to this guy and I'm going to break his heart.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really tough. But then this other guy was the best for this role
Yeah.
because I know
They
where the
could make
roles
right
come.
choices, but not be right for the role.
It
Yeah.
just, it could be your nose, your
Yeah.
hair, the way you
Yeah.
sound, your height,
Yeah.
you know, and you do a lot of what is that thing called, matching, like sort of where you bring the already, you know, cast actress and she has to audition with this
Oh,
person
the
and
chemistry reads.
chemistry reads.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so you have to do a lot of, so there's a lot of variables. It's not that the best gets the part.
Yeah.
It isn't. It really is not. I
Yeah.
can't emphasize that
No,
more.
I know. I
It
know.
is not.
Yeah.
Casting is really very, very interesting, you know. And then, you know, I got to work with Holly Hunter and Tim
Tim
Robb.
Robbins. My friend Sosie Bacon was in it.
So, oh, you know, so
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
great
We went
casting.
to acting
Yeah,
school. Yeah. I love
yes,
Sosie. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And she was great in it actually too. She was great in the show.
Yeah.
And you know, so we did Here and Now, and then Uncle Frank is just coming out next week.
Let's talk about Uncle Frank because it's incredible and so moving, and you're so great in this.
Have
And
you seen it?
yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah, it was fantastic. You were
Yeah, yeah,
seeing
yeah.
you and Paul Bettany in it, and it seemed like it's obviously totally on the other end of the spectrum from Olivier, but you know, I can only imagine from what I've read of your story. I mean, without giving away the story, the plot is two men who are in love with each other, but
Yeah,
you know, one is still kind of dealing with the existential reality of his identity. With
exactly.
yeah,
It,
and
it takes place in the 70s, which is very
yeah,
interesting because at that time it was very hard for anyone to come out.
yeah,
And it's Paul's character, Uncle Frank. He's like sort of traumatized and hasn't faced his demons and blah blah blah. So he's forced to face his demons with the help of his partner, whom I play, and his niece, Sophia Lillis plays that part.
she was
And
great.
yeah, exactly. And you know, that I don't want to give away, as you said, a lot of the story, but we had a great cast with Margot Martindale, Lois Smith,
Yeah.
you know, Steve Zahn,
Steve. Yeah, I love Steve. Yeah.
I'm forgetting people, Judy Greer, Jane
Yeah.
McNeil, they were
Yeah.
all great. So it was a great, great experience. And I would never think that I would play something like that, because the first time Alan gave me the script, because you know I'm a producer on it too, so he said, "So tell me what you think." So after telling him what I think, I told him, "Are you sure I'm the best guy to play this part? Because
Yeah.
he's like this ray of light,
Yeah.
this sunshine, this like." He's like so optimistic about life, so loving, so gentle.
So different from what we
Like,
know from the
so
business.
not me.
It's so funny though, because like when you see it, for those listening, like when you see it, there's no one other than Peter I could see in that role. You're so great, and I just want to hug you, and like I need you.
Yeah, he's incredible. Actually, it's a great character. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't feel like, you know. So it took me a minute to really understand him and get him. A lot of people think that it's kind of easy to play parts like that, including me.
Yeah.
But it turned out not to be that easy, actually. Because you know actors are sort of attracted to parts that are characters that are traumatized with
Yeah.
characters that are intense and edgy and crazy and suffer from like you know any disorder in the DSM that you could find. That's most actors are attracted to that. So this guy was not that at all, right? So he said, you know, I think you're great, but two things I need you to think of. I don't want you to have an Arabic accent, and I would like you to be few, you know, to have like few extra pounds on you.
Oh wow.
But because he wanted them to be real and not like the gay idea,
Yeah. Idea of
that
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So that was easy to do, and you know we didn't have a lot of money at all, and we shot in North Carolina, which was fantastic. I loved it. I loved the
You
stuff.
guys shot Banshee there as well, right?
Say what?
You shot Banshee there as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, Banshee was in South Carolina mostly. And our movie takes place in South Carolina, but we shot in North Carolina in Wilmington. Um,
And talk to me about filming this one. You know, was when you showed up on day one, do you feel like you had him, or did you feel like it was a journey to get to the core of the character?
you know, I was ready because you know, like I don't know if people do that or actor, but what I do is that you know I work on the character. I know like his dreams, his
Yeah,
religion, his all of that stuff. That's very very important. But at one point, like you're lying down and something hits you. At least hit me, and oh yeah, I know him. I
yeah.
mean, you just feel him. You just feel the character like a specter, and it just entering your body, your soul. And I know I sound poetic and ridiculous, but
No,
it
not at all. You're an artist.
really is that way for me. And I felt secure after that because it was like it was something that was not tangible,
Yeah.
but it was a felt experience that you know I had him. And then you know we worked, of course, externally on the hair, the 70s, and then the costumes, and then we had 2 days of rehearsal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you and Paul rehearse? Because you had amazing
2 days.
chemistry.
2 days. That's it over the
Wow.
weekend with Alan, Paul, Sophia, and me. And it went like very fast. And Monday we started shooting, and it was a difficult shoot. I mean, it was very quick. It was you know it was difficult but challenging but
Yeah.
fun. And everybody is super professional. I mean, it was just like boom, 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 boom. You know,
Yeah,
and it
it's
was fun.
such a beautiful film. It's a film the world needs right now. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more of uh, like a zeitgeist thing that we need to kind of build us up again from all the trauma that we've endured over this whatever you want to call this
You
year, this
said
current.
it. I didn't say anything.
But was it cathartic for you? You know, like talk to me. Balancing the acting and producing thing, is that tricky for you? Knowing,
It's not tricky. It's very difficult.
yeah,
It's very taxing. It's super super taxing on me because you have to do everything: pre-production, production, post-production, and then You have to act as well, and the hours are gruesome and long. And sometimes I can be on the set when Wally was not shooting because my character, because I needed to take the day off and sleep. I mean,
Yeah.
it was that hard, you know. It's not tricky because I learned already that once, you know, in the editing room, like you see the character, I'm really capable of seeing him objectively. And
Yeah.
that's something I never thought I could do.
Wow.
And that's an achievement.
Yeah.
Just to see him, to see the work and not see yourself.
Totally.
And I'm very grateful to whoever made me get there, because it's very essential as a producer to be that. And you know, a lot of Wally scenes got cut in the movie, and rightfully so, because the rhythm of the movie and the balance between the drama and the comedy is so delicate
Yeah.
that we had to get rid of a lot of scenes. Not just Wally, a lot, everybody actually
Yeah. Yeah.
had to shave off scenes, as you know. I mean, it happens all the time, to make the movie better, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
rhythmically speaking. And that was okay. I mean, it was not. It
Did
was
you
not.
have a hard time letting go of Wally when you had to go into the post process, or?
You know, it was. I felt the pinch a
Yeah.
bit, you know,
Yeah.
but it was essential for the movie as a whole
Yeah.
to do that. So that was okay ultimately.
That's so beautiful. And do you know what are you working on next?
We are working on something. I cannot divulge much of it because it hasn't been greenlit, but I bet you it's gonna get greenlit. I bet you right
I'm
there.
I'm
I'm
sure it
gonna
is.
announce it.
And if you need an actor, let me know.
I will. I will. And the only thing I could tell you is that it's a true story, and it takes place in Los Angeles.
Okay.
In
Sounds
the
exciting.
90s, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And talk to me, in your career as an artist and spanning from all the different countries you've lived in and
yeah.
things like that, what are, for all the young actors that are listening, we kind of spoke about this earlier, that the landscape from when you came up is very different now with things like diversity and trans and gay and LGBTQ representation. Well, what are some words of wisdom you would have for actors that are maybe coming from Beirut to study at Strasberg now and what?
Well, I mean, it's much easier now, I would think, and rightfully so. You know, I hate giving words of wisdom because everybody's trajectory is so different.
Yeah,
Like what worked for me might not work for someone else.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I could give words on how to be on set, like to be professional, to be on time, to not let your personal life, your addictions, your compulsive, whatever you have, take over,
yeah,
because the work has to be the most important thing. I have tremendous amount of love and passion for the work
yeah,
itself. I mean, you have no idea. I'm so filled with excitement and passion about the work, the craft of it. You know, once the work is done, then you have the other type of work, like this one, for
yeah,
instance, that I have to do. That's part of the job that feels like a job, that feels like important to sort of sell the project
yeah,
and the market it and all that. And that's tough. I mean, it's
yeah.
not,
It's really tough.
yeah, it's not something that I'm crazy about, honestly, but the actual work, the creative work, I think everybody has to feel that there is a sanctity
Yeah,
to it,
yeah.
and it should really be worshipped. That's my 2 cents actually about the work.
Oh, and what about from Peter's other head, the creative head? For all the aspiring writers now, we live in a time where
Yeah,
literally every platform in the world is creating content, and it's a
yeah.
hyper saturated marketplace, and
Unbelievably
it,
so.
almost unsustainably so. It doesn't seem.
Unsustainably, without
Yeah,
it, Brian, it's unbelievable. I can't cope. I
yeah, me
mean,
either. It's like my
Netflix,
Apple's.
Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Showtime. I mean, on and on. It is crazy. It is crazy now, but it's good. It's good. I mean, there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of diversity,
Do
which
you,
I'm very happy about. I mean, I watched something on Hulu that I don't remember what it was called. It was a mini series about, taking place in Iraq during the American invasion. Beautiful,
wow,
beautiful work.
yeah,
And that nobody knows of.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, nobody knows. I would not know if there's something amazing on
Because
Netflix.
it's so diluted, the marketplace. It's hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's like what pisses me off, because a lot of good shows come and go and nobody knows about them
Yeah.
right now. The landscape has changed in a drastic way. But for the young writers, I'd say just write from your inner soul, write your voice, because the more personal you are about your work, the more universal it is.
Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Peter, it's been such an honor having you, and
Man, come on.
I'm a huge fan of yours, and I would really love to work with you one day, just to be in a scene with you. I feel like it would be a masterclass in itself.
Oh, that'd be fun, man.
I want to ask you. You know, I just mentioned it. We spoke about it, but it's been a really trying year, and both as a creative and as an artist, as an actor, what's kept you inspired through all this despair and trauma?
That's such a great question, Ryan. Well, that's a great question, actually. I mean, you're making me think, because I've never thought of it.
It's okay if it's not an easy one. It's not. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I'm thinking. I just need a second. There's a force inside us, right? There's a force. There's an energy, and that energy is there to express ourselves, to say something in this world. And that energy obviously is strong for it to sort of sustain and overcome all the difficulties that happen in the world. That it was very important to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, now that I think about it, it was very important. It was the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, to leave everything behind.
Yeah.
Family, country, language, culture, music, food, and just set off on this trip, on this voyage. Is I mean, a lot of people have done it. I mean, it's not unique, but it's still not easy. Stopping in Europe and gathering what I could gather there from culture and cinema and theater and dance and music, and then always the focus was America because of the shows and the movies I grew up with.
Yeah.
I remember the first movie in the theater I saw was Taxi Driver.
Oh, no way.
12,
Yeah. What a heavy movie.
You talking to me. And it was, and then falling in love with him and Meryl Streep. I don't know how good this movie is, but at the time for me, I was 14. It was oh my God, I'm seeing magic between these two actors.
Yeah.
It was magic. I mean, it's incredible, it's important. Right now, sometimes I say, what is it, Hollywood and acting? Is it really relevant?
Yeah.
And I remember when I was growing up, how important it was to me when I saw these actors, James Dean, De Niro, Meryl Streep, and how they made me shiver.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I hate being sort of flowery in my language sometimes, but it really made me shiver. And it made me want to do this. It made me want to do it more. And made me want to come to America and to Hollywood and take a stab at it.
Well, you've done such an amazing job, and I'm so excited for the world to see Uncle Frank. I'm going to have the link right here. And Peter Macdissi, thank you for coming on and giving back, and I hope we do this again soon.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Ryan.
All right. So much love, okay? Take care.
All right.
Bye.
I am thrilled to announce that An Actor Despairs is partnering with a wonderful CBD company called Kind Farms. Everyone out there has heard of CBD. I started taking it a few years ago when I first started getting sober and to help with my anxiety. Sadly, as one can do, I was overtraining in the gym, and a friend recommended a topical and a tincture to help with the pain. I tried it. It was okay. However, recently, I was introduced to a product that has really changed my life. Not only has it helped me with anxiety, but I am stronger than I have ever been. I'm able to carry out lifts my body used to prevent me from doing. Kind Farm products have single-handedly changed my life athletically and personally. They utilize 100% local licensed farmers, organic cultivation, and CO2 extraction for superior CBD. Kind Farms is turning CBD to a kind alternative to pharmaceuticals. Let's transform Tobacco Row into Hemp Row. If you want to get involved, please reach out. Together, we can make a difference. You can use my code RYAN10 for 10% off. You can find them on Instagram at Kind Farms Inc., all one word. That's KINDPHARMSINC, and their website is kindfarmsinc.com. Once again, my code for 10% off is RYAN10.